Welcome to another episode of In All Honesty. Well, this time you can see my face. But before we get into what today's episode is about, can we just start with shout outs? Because some people were just like, I tumejua na hii miaka yote na hata shout out kwa podcast. So now I have to include a segment in my podcast ya kutuma tu salamu kwa sababu Ukenya imewazidi. Kwanza, Kweyu Brian, aka Kubi the Bryant. Nimesema ni shout out tena sana. Ni wewe umefanya nikaeka segment ya salamu kwa podcast. Shout out Kweyu. Kweyu has been my all-time person. The other person I really want to shout out is Feni Odera. This girl nilingevi campus and alikuwa roommate wangu, and she has been my number one ever since. Yani, where? Check out fennydiscovers.com. This girl is your plug for anything adventure and travel. Think about it, she got ya. Hata sahi saa sita usiku kwetu like, Feni kuna mali naweza enda kuskini deep sai. She got ya. So you want to reach out to Fanny for anything travel, anything adventure, because she does things even within Nairobi, rock climbing, Malindi. You think about it, this girl has done it. And lastly, I want to shout out my girl Daisy Eddie. D is known as Nyambura Githaka on Facebook and on Instagram as Nyambura. So this girl is a designer by profession. You know, when I was young, I wanted to belong to cool people circles, and now I know these people. Like, hey. So Daisy is a professional designer. You want to check her out. She runs a clothing line called Ambura na Awera, and my favorite look is a kimono worn by the great Goofy Dogs, and he's looking schnacky. Anyway, check out Daisy Githaka. She's an amazing designer. You want to consult her for all things you want for fashion. Na nimemaliza kutuma salamu, so let's get into the episode. Welcome to In All Honesty. My fabulous name is Oliver Rao. Before someone mentions it, I am quite aware that I look extremely light skinned on this video. It's just my first time like setting up a camera, and like I'll get the lighting and the setup right as time goes. I honestly don't think I'll get it right the first time. I'm probably just feeling guilty, but probably this happens for other people who are in production. You can just let me know. Does your skin color just change completely because of lighting? Anywho, let's get started. So this episode, in all honesty, I am calling it disguised abuse. And it's because this is abuse that is abuse, but a lot of people just don't want to term it as abuse or don't think it is. So this episode was inspired by a friend's incident where she went through something in the recent weeks. Yeah, she's gone through 2 incidences that are very disturbing. She's still recovering, and she shared with me, and I thought, okay, now I have content for the next episode because we need to talk about this. So just a little backstory on what happened to her. In the recent weeks, my friend went through 2 incidences where she was sexually harassed, and she's currently nursing bruises. Her hand is swollen. She has some scratches, and of course, just traumatized. She's not sure if she wants to be around people or parties. And she was, I think in one of the incidences, she was pinned to a wall, and the person tried to even put their hand up her skirt, and that's where she got the bruises from. Now, here's the plot twist. The abuser was a fellow woman. And I was just like, we are here fighting every single day to stop rape culture, gender-based violence, everything we're fighting against, all the oppression we've gone through under the patriarchy. And then there's you. You're crossing over to that side that we are fighting. And I'm just like, you know what? It's not easy. But at the end of the day, I do realize that we are all human, and even humans are bound to have this negative behaviors, So, first of all, I just thought I would start by saying consent is consent. It does not matter who it is. Consent is consent. A lot of us tend to think that if it's coming from a woman, then it is okay. No. If I don't want to be touched, I do not want to be touched by any creature in the world. It does not matter who it is. Okay? I'm using touch because it's personal to me. I generally do not like being touched. If we're meeting, hug me, boss. Greet me, boss. If you're passing by and probably we're in a noisy place, I can't hear you say, excuse me, do not dare touch my waist. Tap me on the shoulder. Okay? So a lot of people just tend to think since it's a girl, if she can touch your waist, it's okay. If she's going to touch your boobs, it's okay. No. Consent is consent, and you need to first ask if at all you want to touch. And now I'm just now I feel actually upset that this was not even that, like, just regular things like a touch or I'm passing by and brush by you. This was actually someone literally abusing you. Like, this is traumatic as hell. I'm just thinking what she was going through, that must have been extremely traumatic. And talking of consent, do we ever call out our friends enough? Because now we've gone into the process of where my friend is not able to tell her friends who brought this person because she feels like, then what if she's never done this to anyone else? Then I'll just be like, yeah, because they haven't talked about it, they're still hanging out with this person. Then that tells that for them, they're either they this person has done that to them and they're okay with it, or they do not know this person hasn't done it to anyone else, and therefore she'll just look crazy. And over time, women have always been the victims. And I when I try to share this particular thought with someone else so I can get their wave of thinking about it, and they just said, women women, you're going to be crying victim throughout, because men are abusing you, you're victim. Now women are abusing you, you're victim. And I just felt upset, and I felt overwhelmed, and I felt overpowered, because it is true, but I can't stop crying victim because I was actually a victim. It does not matter whether it was a woman or a man. At the end of the day, I was a victim. And I just feel like it also leads to there's a whole culture and trend that just began that I also feel is very disturbing, where I think you have seen it, where some girls have dated men and then they've gotten brokenhearted, and then they're like, no, me, I'm done with men, now I'm doing women. I don't think that's a healthy way of doing it. First of all, I would advise that you get a therapist or go through counseling and get your shit together and work on yourself. Do not use other people as a crutch because you got hurt by another gender. That just does not make sense at all, if you ask me. And also, it goes to hurt the LGBTQI community, because then you're only enforcing the notion that this is a choice, and it is not a choice. Your sexuality is not a choice. You I feel like that will lead to a whole new conversation. But here's the thing, let us stop doing things out of trends. And when I'm talking about trends, this began, I think the first incident where I discussed this with younger people was last year, 2020. Yes, last year. And I realized a lot of young people are confused about sexuality, and some of them move with the fad. You see how being black became a trend at some point. Yeah, where now everyone wanted to be black. I'm an eighth black. Oh, my granddad, the granddad to my great grandfather was black. So everyone wanted to associate with black. I feel like there's such a trend, but now like for pride, everyone wants to belong to the gay community, and I don't think it is safe. I do not think it is safe, first, for a community that has fought so much to just exist as humans, and then for you to invalidate all that by just thinking it's cool because they have a sense of fashion, they are cool people, they have these communities that are easy. No, those are not communities that are easy. Those are places they created that are safe spaces for them to exist. So I'm also just mad about the idea of finding this a trend. And so I found out that these young people, as they come in thinking of it as a trend and not necessarily as a sexuality, then there are certain sort of incidences where they go to abuse fellow women because they're feeling like, me, I want you, I'll give you orgasms. Yes, we are aware that we are aware the heteros are not getting much of their orgasms. Yes, we do know that. But that is not right for you to go and harass someone just because you think this is like a trend or a fad that's going on social media. Please understand your sexuality, and at the end of the day, you need to approach people respectfully. It does not matter whether the person you might like is heterosexual, and you can approach them, and that's okay. But you have to be respectful, just the same way any man approaching anyone will have to be respectful. If a man is coming to me, I will judge them only by how they approach me. Even you as a lady, if you're approaching me, I will only judge you by the way you approach me. So you can't come to me disrespectfully just thinking because it's a girl, I should feel safe, and because it's a girl, I should feel experimental and go ahead and do it. No. And this idea I feel like there's so much to unpack. This idea of people feeling like because it's a woman then it's safe is very dangerous. It's not always safe because it's a woman. As I said when I was beginning the episode, is that we are all human. You're first human before you're a woman, you're first human before you're a man. And humans have different personalities. Humans have different characters. Mtu ambaye ako na tabia mbaya, mtu ambaye ako na tabia mzuri, anaweza kuwa ni mwanamke ama anaweza kuwa ni mwanaume. So let us not just generalize that only men have bad manners and women have good manners and therefore you are safe around women. No, there are women with bad manners and they need to be called out. And I feel like that is why I said it is abuse that is disguised. Because a lot of people, and I feel like women have gotten away with a lot, okay? Because can we talk about growing up and how helps sexually abusing the boys in the house? No one ever talked about that. People are just like, it's like a trophy. Those men were given their first sexual experiences by someone experienced. No, that was sexual abuse. Can we talk about women who lie about rape? Do you know, be falsely accusing someone else about rape? Those are things that happen and women are getting away with it. So we also need to get into the space where we need to understand that we will also call out women. We will also let women face the consequences of their actions. So it's not always safe just because it's a woman. And I am completely upset that my friend has to go through 2 incidences of sexual abuse from a fellow woman and she can't speak because we are already fighting fights with, the masculine gender. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But I think my takeaway and what I would like to emphasize on this podcast for this particular episode is consent, and that is something we need to understand. Can we not do things out of because it's trending? Why on earth would you identify as gay just because you find it trendy? Do you even understand how much you are endangering that community by pretending to be it? Because this community has established its own, they operate very like adults, like human beings. So we already know how the society is very harsh and cruel towards the LGBTQI community. And if someone comes out and says, I was abused by a man, no one will think that it could be a heterosexual someone who's just following some stupid trend. Everyone will go to, you see how the gay community is behaving, you see how the gay community is behaving. And honestly, it is just unfair. You are being unfair to the person you are abusing, you are being unfair to the community you're pretending to belong to, and you are being unfair to fellow women who have tried all these years to fight to just get to a point where they can exist. All women are trying to fight for is existence. And I don't see how you can be sabotaging that and be okay with yourself. And I think I lost the last point that I wanted to emphasize on. But I remember consent, and do not jump on trends. Figure out your sexuality. The idea of Sijueti, you dated someone, they broke your heart, now you're moving to other people. That is some shit. Don't do that even if you're dating within the same gender. If you're hurt by one man, do not go hurting another man. Please, go for therapy. Find yourself, work on yourself, move to the next person when you're a wholesome person. So this does not only apply to people who want to change sexualities when they're heartbroken, okay? And also call out your friends. I think that's the most, that's it for me. Call out fellow women, call out people who are not behaving in the correct way, because wanachoma na sisi hatutaki picha iendelee kuchoma, because I think people have worked so hard to be where they are right now. Women have worked extremely hard. Women are waking up every day and trying to push and trying to break through those ceilings, and it is not easy because the patriarchy has been in control for ages over. You cannot make us do that kind of work over and over again just because you want to be careless. We will call you out, and I hope my friend gets to a point where she's found healing and she can be able to talk to the friends who actually brought this friend over, so that people can be aware. I don't find it funny at all. And abuse is abuse. It does not matter who it is coming from, and it's never safer just because it's a woman. Sisi wote tunaweza kuwa na tabia mbaya, tunaweza kuwa na tabia nzuri. Being a woman or a man is not the underlying factor here. It's just tabia yako, your character. Okay? With that said, this was the shortest episode I have ever had of all my 7 episodes, but I hope it was, I didn't want to go into a lot of detail about some of the incidences that have happened, especially with people faking being gay, which is very disturbing. I won't go into that because I feel like it's a whole other conversation where I'd actually like to bring in someone from the LGBTQI community so that we can also discuss that together. But for today, call out your friends, and abuse is abuse, whether it's coming from a woman or a man. Please, can we try and be safe? I hope everyone who's gone through any sort of abuse, and probably it's come from someone who people would not believe, I hope you find justice, and I hope it gets better. I don't know what else to do. I really just hope it gets better. I hope these people suffer the consequences for their actions. But it really hurts me, and I'm so sad. And I'm sad that these episodes weigh me down. These episodes where I have to talk about abuse and injustices really weigh me down, and they just make my heart feel heavy. But all I can hold out for you is hope and healing, and I hope it comes soon. And with that said, I have been your girl, Oliver Rawo. In all honesty, I love you. Until next week, bye.